All right, we are live. So I pump fake people a little bit because I told them we'd get in the draft right at the top of the hour, but I feel like you can't make it that easy on them to get in and snipe us. So here we are going in about 4 minutes after the fact. So let me introduce my guest before the draft begins. Liam, I am really excited to have you on, and this is my final draft on Drafters, my 150th, and I saved it for you.
That's awesome, man. I was going to ask you what number you're at.
Yeah.
How's the journey been of the 150?
It's been fun. I start off by auto drafting about 100. And I
Okay.
just I manually draft a few, then I auto draft a bunch and just kind of get a sense of where my rankings are getting me certain guys. Taking a look at a lot. I always go back and review the teams that I'm auto drafting to kind of figure out where am I missing here? And kind of figure out the construction that my rankings lead to. And then I start manual drafting some towards the end. So I've probably manually done the last 30 or so. Did a stream or two, but yeah, I had you earmarked for my final stream because I always enjoy you throw out some hot takes, and I feel like there's something to be said for having a unique opinion in a space where a lot of people think the game theory optimal strategy is solved, and they're just going to peddle that theory. And it's like, oh, let's get some unique thoughts in here. So that's kind of why I wanted to bring you in for this last one.
Yeah, I always try to build unique, take big player stands. How have you been building this year, though? Have you found yourself prioritizing like a zero RB build? We saw a lot of success with that last year. Have you been
So
doing
while we
more
wait
running
for
back
this,
heavy?
let's see, while we wait for this draft to fill, why don't I pop over to this tab, show you my exposures, see what you think of some of these guys. So kind of unfortunate here to have so much Jeff Wilson.
He can still be on the
that's
winner, though, especially at that late of an ADP.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that when you look at getting him at 160s, I think that's a good process, bad result type deal. But I also have a lot of, Jacobs at an average ADP of 30, which I'm stoked about.
Yeah, that was like a really nice time when you could go like wide receiver, Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, exactly. Luckily, I thought Jacobs would play and Taylor would not. So
I was the same way. I have like no Taylor at all.
I ended up, you can see here, I ended up overweight on Taylor because the news came out.
Yeah.
When I was already in a bunch of auto drafts.
That's what I figured.
So I didn't really realize and turn it off. But I mean, I was picking him I had lowered him so far. I was picking him in the mid 30s. But I ended up suddenly getting a bunch of them, which was not what I wanted.
Yes. DraftKings has the ability to exclude a player now. So.
Oh, nice.
I've been doing
you can exclude on drafters and underdog too, but I didn't want to completely exclude them because I thought I'll take a share if he falls really far. But the breaking news aspect kind of makes it tricky. Mike Evans is a guy I think a lot of people are going to hate. Curious your take here. I think of Baker Mayfield as a chuck it up and pray type of guy, which I think is perfect for Mike.
Yeah, I think he has outs to get traded too. I've thought that for a long time where if the Chiefs wide receiver room is bad and or the Travis Kelce injury serious, they're going to trade for Hollywood Brown, Mike Evans. They're going to try to get one of those guys, I bet.
I would love that because I've been taking a lot of these guys that I think are great talents. You can see I have a lot of Marquise and Michael Wilson.
Yeah, like Mike Evans in some ways is the Amari Cooper lesson from last year, where it's like Amari Cooper was 6th round, pretty cheap because Jacoby Brissett was going to be the quarterback most of the year, and he crushed,
right.
And so
fine.
It's kind of similar, like the Baker and Geno theorem you can see if you squint too, where it's like maybe Baker is not as bad as we think.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I think that there's even a bad QB like Baker, what's his weekly yardage prop going to be? Probably 221.
Yeah, I was going to say 220.
What's Geno Smith going to be, or what's Kirk Cousins going to be? 265, 275?
Yeah.
So take 50 yards off the table, but give them no wide receiver 3, no tight end, and decent running backs, and a kind of a short field guy in Godwin. Where is he going to get to 221 yards? I think Mike could easily have 80 yards a game, even on a horrible offense.
I don't have a ton of Mike this year. Like, I have some.
I don't know anyone who does. I don't know who else is drafting him besides me.
I'm a little worried. Like, my worry is that wide receivers like him kind of they can just break down, where it's like we've seen AJ Green just like overnight was like he's done. And without Tom Brady, Baker, I don't know, he's got some accuracy issues. He could like sun run 10 touchdowns though, even if he remains a buck. Russell Gage getting hurt can't be bad for Mike Evans, although Trey Palmer seems legit. How have you played the elite quarterbacks? Have you been doing Hurts, Mahomes?
Yeah, I have a decent here. I'll go QB.
Yeah, I think that's.
I thought I was pretty high on. I have a lot of Lamar and Fields compared to the top three.
Okay, yeah, and they're the two with like 40, 50 point ceilings on like a given week.
Yeah, you and I last year were both taking a ton of Josh Allen. I think I had 50% Allen last year. Whereas now I don't think he's going to run as much, and I think his ADP has caught up to his upside.
It's weird because this is the best offense he's ever played with, and the thing to me about taking an elite quarterback is really just like, I mean, if you can hit late round gems on running back, wide receiver, they're kind of worth the opportunity cost. Like if those players exist in a player pool, a Josh Jacobs from last year, what have you, securing Hurts and Allen. I definitely want some Hurts in my portfolio. I got a lot of Hurts. We're in this.
Hey, we're on the clock. I almost forgot about the whole reason.
Let's do Amon-Ra.
I get so sucked in. Yeah, let's go Amon-Ra. Nice. I'm gonna let you lead most of this draft. All right.
Okay.
It's my rankings are the default here.
Good. That's what I like. I like the default. Oh no, it's oh yeah.
No. I'm saying my rankings are what we're gonna see.
Oh, okay.
These are my personally, like, they're available on.
Can you sort it by ADP?
What was that?
Can you sort it by ADP?
I can. Yeah.
We can draft off your rankings. Let's keep it off your rankings.
We can go back and forth. We can say who's the best. Here, I'll show you.
So I didn't get a draft any second round cup.
I'm going off the rankings here on my site that I keep updated. So, because I think like if my users are watching this, then I want them to like see the same rankings that they get.
For sure. Yeah. Let's keep it on this. Your rankings.
It's not too far off. Like you'll see, I have a couple. Like I'm pretty low on a few guys, but I'll point them out to you. And if you want them, we'll grab them.
Okay. Well, yeah. Whatever. Cooper Kupp in the second round is not a guy like I ever got to get on drafters because I'd already maxed. I do think it's tempting to build like a Kelsey Cup team if possible, but
the only thing I don't like about it on Underdog, I love it because the playoff format, but with everything being cumulative on drafters, I just worry about how much you're sacrificing in the beginning.
I don't know. I think you can like carry yourself afloat if they're both.
True,
if they both only miss 2 weeks
early is not injured and not on a bye week. All right, just went.
So I like Garrett Wilson a lot, and yeah, it's just clearly Garrett Wilson here.
Okay, same.
Yeah. For me, like I personally like Adams after everyone that went already. Like he's my last pick in this tier, and then it's like a pretty like some people throw Nick Chubb in there. I don't know how I feel about Nick Chubb on a PPR site. Not great, honestly.
Yeah, they're saying you might get more pass catching work, but I kind of feel like they've been saying that for years and years. And
how can he? How can he? Like this is not his game, But
yeah, and it's not like it was Kareem Hunt's game either. People are acting like, oh, now the pass catching role is open, and I'm like, Kareem Hunt wasn't like this. He's not like a Jerick McKinnon type of guy in this backfield.
Yeah, he's cooked. I like your rankings. I'm high on Ridley. I think being high on Andrews makes sense. I've drafted like no Kelsey or Eckler.
I have a decent amount of Eckler. I have very little Kelsey. My theory on Kelsey is the same as it was last year, which is that I don't know how long he can hold up. And the problem with taking Kelsey is that there's so many good tight ends late. So it just always makes me feel like, and I guess that's true of any receiver too, but I'll show you we've got time before it comes back. I'll show you my tight end pool. I'm curious.
Just with you having to start 3 wide receivers each week, it really changes the equation where like, even if Kelce smashes,
right. I'm ashamed that I'm only at 8% Dalton Kincaid. I think I'm going to regret that.
Maybe, like him on a playoff site is maybe even better if like it takes him a while.
True.
You have those outs, but I like pairing him with an elite and just betting that the weekly upside will be there. Where it's like he for sure is going to have games, I think 80, 100 yards, a touchdown.
On Underdog, I have a decent amount of Knox and Dalton.
Me too. I posted my top 10 exposures today, and I have 50% Kincaid. Whatever on BBM4, it's like we're trying to win 3 million here. So I'm taking major stands.
Be aggressive.
And I have 13% Knox, because when I went late tight end with like 3 to 4, I like him as a touchdown or bust option.
Yeah, I think Knox is the type of guy who, especially on the playoff sites, but really in any best ball format, he's the kind of guy that could just have 2 touchdowns, like 4 catches, 40 yards, and 2 scores. And all of a sudden he's optimal and he's going in the 19th round of drafts.
Yeah. That's how I feel about him too. I like him better for playoffs too, because it's he does have some contingent upside, I guess, if like the Bills offense gets decimated, like we lose Diggs, Davis, it's like it's just Knox. Okay, sure, Knox is going to have some games, but he's not that talent. I mean,
how much Deontay Hardy are you buying into?
I've been drafting Deontay Hardy since April, because I think Deontay Hardy's good at football.
Me too. I think he's just a hashtag good player.
And I could not think of a perfect match where, remember, Deontay Hardy is not only good at the line of scrimmage.
What do you want to do here?
I like the top 3. Ramondre, I think
Andrews here, and then I would hope Lamar is there on the wraparound.
Yeah, let's. I think you always got to gamble and hope you get that when both.
I never really reach. I don't reach that aggressively. Sometimes I end up with teams that are unstacked because I just refuse to reach, and I'm like, fuck it, throw away that team. I don't care. I just want to make sure I get the best possible. Like the good teams, I want them to be so good. So that's why I don't like to reach. How do you feel about that?
That's how I do it in general too, and I'll end up with some unstacked teams, either like quarterbacks falling or whatever. But I also believe in reaching for uniqueness, where say you're taking Lamar and Andrews at the 2-3 turn to pair with Jefferson, just knowing that like there's 0% other teams like that in the tournament unless they reach like you. Like that's got to be kind of good, where it's like, how much projection are we giving up against?
I love doing weird stuff like that. Another thing I'll do is I'll take 3 receivers on Underdog that typically don't even get drafted. So instead of taking like a Slayton who usually gets picked,
that's a great strat.
I'll take Tutu Atwell, and then I'll take like Michael Wilson, like guys who weren't even getting drafted, let alone 2 or 3 on the same team. So
I've been doing that a lot because I've been doing like 20 DraftKings ones at a time on my phone.
Yeah.
In their Millie Maker to get it over with, and like I had a big monitor. It's too slow like that. I like ETN. Yeah, ETN is the pick for here. Watson or Williams I also take. I saw Watson was on the injury report today, which I don't love, but for my back, I've been drafting a lot of Watson and Williams. How do you feel about them?
I think I lowered Watson this morning. Trying to find it. Oh, did he already go? Oh, he already went.
No, yeah, he just went.
Yeah, I lowered him this morning to like in the 50s.
For me, the same tier of players is basically like Ramondre, ETN, Watson, and Williams.
Yeah.
I think ETN is a good bet to like have some monster games, but if his floor is questionable, it doesn't matter as long as he has those big games.
Look at this guy.
Yeah, I mean, you get some high T builds over here. I built some hyper fragile teams. Have you built any teams like that, or have you mainly?
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't hate it because the assumption is that everybody sharp isn't doing it. So if it works, I want to be competing against kind of non-sharp people. That's just like, and I want the end of my draft.
I say the same thing all the time, where it's like, I listen to a lot of content, and if I notice that a certain player people are on where I'm like questionable on or whatever, I'll do a different thing to get different. Like, I try to be the best of the mouth breathers is what I call it.
Exactly. You know? Yeah. If the mouth breathers are winning, I would like to be in contention. And it sounds so dumb and so like, counterintuitive, but the draft is really won down here. Like the picks in the 200s is where I think I'm just getting so much edge by taking like I was taking Michael Wilson for weeks. Like Hayden Hurst, I think could be such a good play. And I don't know if he's like noticed I have like 38%.
I did see it. I saw it.
I just think that he's like the type of guy that Bryce Young will throw to when it's not.
Here, I'll pull up my drafters exposures.
What was that?
I'll pull up my drafters exposures so we can talk mine at the same time.
I just saw Dustin said in the comments, I missed this earlier. He said 220 is stretching it for Baker. LOL. I'd say more 180 yards. But really, I mean, when do you see a non-running quarterback with a prop under 200?
Yeah, I mean, and even like really Fields, I don't know.
Because the problem is it's actually hard for a QB to throw for less than 200 yards. Because if he's playing like absolute dog shit, then he's going to be behind the entire second half, and he's going to play against, garbage prevent defense. So it's almost impossible to play so bad that you don't average 220 yards.
How do you see your exposure on the site? I'm forgetting how to do that.
You click under like my account and then player exposure.
Okay. What I was gonna say on the competing with the mouth breathers strat is like that's why I like elite quarterback, because everyone who's like consumes content and thinking is like, oh, I can make up quarterback points with volume later. And I'm like, you know what? Let's wheels up elite quarterbacks. I'm going to build the best.
Like, no, I'm with you. I mean, to me, the elite quarterbacks this year is like Lamar Jackson. Like I've been loading up. I think of
Lamar, they could be this year's Eagles so easily.
Yeah. I think Lamar is going to have a bunch of 40-point weeks, and people are going to be like, damn, I could have just taken him instead of reaching for Allen.
So I have 40% Deontay Hardy.
Wow, I love that. That's awesome. That's more
like I like that more than Hayden Hurst, where it's like, what is Hayden Hurst?
I actually do too. I was a little late to the Deontay Hardy game because I thought that they might be overcommitted to Khalil Shakir, which was a dumb thought.
Shakir, I mean, I like Hawkinson a lot.
I do too. Do you want to go double?
Yeah, just double done and just eat a 0 week.
Well, eat a 0 on the bye.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. I like doing weird shit like that because no one else.
No, but think about it, because like Andrews Hawkinson is way outscoring, I don't know, Hayden Hurst, Knock, Cade Otton.
Yeah, we'll never need
even with the 0,
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I think if you can't win with 1-0 at one position 1 week, you probably weren't going to win.
The winner last year had Hurts and Zach Wilson as their quarterback, and so he had a 0 for like 2 or 3 weeks to end the season.
Yeah, and he still won by like 100.
Yeah, he won. You can go, if you played last year, you can go into the history and see it.
Yeah, his team was just the nuts all year long, which is what we're going for here.
Yeah.
All right, what do we want to do next? There's no reason to take Burrow necessarily.
I think you do take the value
of Burrow. I guess we could take Burrow and then take Boyd.
Yeah, like if we get Boyd, great. If we don't, who cares?
It's fine. Yeah.
Because we can kind of just hope it's like it goes to T some weeks, it goes to I think you just take that value.
Yeah, I agree. See, this is the way I draft. This is why I wanted you on, because I know we draft.
I mean, that's absurd value. And like Burrow has what, like 38-point upside?
Yeah, you just don't pass on value like that. Hey, Dustin, I do have an update for you. Ready for this?
Uh-oh.
Baker's prop week 1, 229.5.
Hey, what's
the Vikings are a good matchup, but I still think he's going to average somewhere in the low 200s, 2 teens, almost every week.
What's Gino at?
Yeah, did we guess right on all that? I mean, look at Lamar. He's less than that because he's a runner. Baker as a non-runner will.
Well, that's the thing about Lamar is like some of his pass catchers could disappoint from a seasonal perspective.
Yeah, I really only take Andrews above like at ADP. Pretty much everyone else, I let him fall a little bit.
But even he's not like safe either. If Odell gets some and Zay Flowers gets some and Bateman gets some, they'll all have their weeks. But so 244 for Geno, pretty low.
Yeah, probably because they're expected to lead that game.
Yeah.
Fields at 180. That's the lowest.
Herbert's at like 300.
Yeah, Herbert's the best.
That's going to be the chalk game for DFS for sure.
Yeah. Herbert's going to have a good year. I like him too.
I got a lot of Herbert. So my top tight ends are Kincaid, Laporta, Kittle, Hawkinson, Juwan Johnson, Luke Musgrave, Tyler Conklin, Michael Mayer.
Okay. I like a lot of those. I don't think I have much Conklin, but I've got most of those guys.
Yeah, Conklin is like either the 2 or like CJ Uzomah is getting more than we want. And McCole Hardman and, basically that.
I didn't hear Hawkinson on there. Are you not aggressive?
No, Hawkinson was number 4 for me.
Oh, okay. I just missed it. Okay, good. Good to hear. I think Hawkinson is he was like the number 1 tight end once he got to Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't get the Hawkinson hate. Like, again, Jordan Addison being there, I think impacts like weekly ceiling a little bit or seasonal points for each player, but they'll each have their weekly ceilings. Kirk Cousins is a tight end guy. Hawkinson, I have 20% in Best Ball Mania 4, so my second highest one. I got 17% on drafters. So, like, I didn't get why he kept on falling. It was good for my bags that he signed that contract, because he had that ear thing, and then he had the back issues.
Yeah.
But really,
that was all just BS about the contract.
Yeah, it was all just contract.
Yeah. This guy just took Jonathan Taylor at 72 and Judy at 73. So he took McLaurin with his turf toe and Javonte Williams.
And he reached on McLaurin. Like, McLaurin falls way further than that.
That's too early for McLaurin. I hate drafting guys with turf toe.
Yeah, I think Jahan Dotson has been a great pick all year. I draft Jahan over McLaurin. I've been mixing McLaurin in the 70s, where it's like a lot of the risk is baked in. I'm getting unique on the field. Same with Judy. Like, I wasn't drafting Judy at all. I was just out on the Broncos, other than like the cheap ones. Some Sutton, some Mims, some Dulcich. Not a lot of Javonte. How have you approached the injured guys? Like Javonte?
I've kind of been avoiding them. I'll show you. I've got 2% Javonte. Nice.
Yeah, I got very little. Kamara?
I don't think I have much Kamara.
I don't either.
2%. Which his ADP has come all the way down to where I had him ranked. I think I had him around like 90, and he was originally ADP was higher, but now I would start getting him if I was doing more drafts now.
How do you play the Eagles running backs?
Let's get to that in a second.
Yeah,
I take a lot of Sutton here.
I like Montgomery as like the last running back
here. Ranked highest. Do you want to take him?
Yeah, let's take him.
We need another running back.
I don't know. Like, Sutton kind of seems like he's going to be the 2 to start the year by default, where I think that was up in the air if Tim Patrick was healthy and if Judy wasn't hurt,
Well, Mims is really the biggest beneficiary of all these injuries, in my opinion.
But I think also Sutton is, where it's like, maybe they're going to play Tim Patrick over you. Like, we were going to be
we don't know for sure. Yeah.
And like that was kind of the rumor that Patrick was going to be the Joker role, like big slot for Sean Payton.
Yeah. So I just looked. I have 19% Penny, but I don't really love Penny. I think I
got 19% Penny too. I like Penny a lot.
I
got scared at the end. I got scared at the end when that one Eagles beat reporter went for this like clickbait headline of like Trey Sermon's going to be kept over Penny, and the whole market. He just free falled after that.
Yeah,
but that guy is a clickbait artist.
I think I ended up with a ton of him because of that. Because I think I was auto drafting at that time.
I was drafting.
So Sky Moore is interesting here to still be on the board above ADP, given the.
I like Quentin Johnston more.
Yeah, I'm down for Johnson.
Yeah, let's go him. I mean, I don't know. Like, you could say Sky's a good bet if Kelsey is like going to be out for the year. I just question Sky's talent, even though the reports have been good.
Yeah, I believe in Rashad Penny's talent. To get back to that, like I believe, like I wrote him up at the beginning of best ball season as one of my favorite picks, and I said Gainwell is an interesting option because I just don't think Swift is nearly as good as people think he is. So I said I think you take Penny or Gainwell there, and you try to nail the running back in that offense. But I ended up with very little Gainwell, even though I actually was pretty high on him because his ADP just kept climbing faster than I was rising him.
Yeah, he was like free at one point. I just 2x the field on all of them.
Yeah, that's just like a good offense to have exposure to.
Yeah,
that's that's what I did with the Panthers running back situation. I was like, I don't really know if it's going to be Sanders or Hubbard at the end of the year, but I want whoever it's going to be.
That's how I was the year I won BBM2. I wanted the Seahawks running back against the Lions in week 17. And so I took a lot of Chris Carson and Rashad Penny, and Rashad Penny was on my winning $1 million team. So I'm like trying to grind those micro edges.
Yeah, for people who don't know, I should have given you better intro, Liam. I'm new to this. I'm new to the streaming. This is like my second one. But yeah, Liam's won $1 million playing BBM. He took down the whole underdog thing. So he builds unique, and when the mouth breathers win, you can count on Liam. So that's why we love him.
That's Liam. A slogan we're working out.
So yeah, here's what I did. I just went 30% of Sanders and Hubbard, and I liked Sanders more, so I took him in the higher stakes stuff. But on my kind of like auto pick teams, I just took a bunch of both. I think B-Rob will be really good after getting shot.
Yeah, I like him a lot too.
Same thing with the Miami situation. I was like, just give me a bunch of Mostert and Wilson, and let's just see who has value. So,
I have more Wilson than Mostert.
Me too, but I mean, now I'm like, well, hopefully these 21% of teams are good, and just screw these teams. And luckily, like, you can afford some dead roster spots in this.
Oh yeah, like a lot of people are like, oh, don't risk a zero, don't risk a zero. I try to swing for upside for most picks and just hope that everything clicks together.
Agreed. All right, Liam, I'm going to put a comment on the screen that just came in. I don't really know what it's from, but I have a feeling you will.
Yeah. Well, on my YouTube channel earlier today, so the FFPC changed the position of Taysom Hill from a tight end to a quarterback in their contests that were already like 90% filled.
Yeah, it feels like you can't change that after it's already started. I know it's in the rules that they can, but
yeah, so like, I don't know. It just seems like a bad stance from like a game integrity reason. And I was pretty vocal because I think it's the right thing to do to speak up about this, that like this is bad for the game. You know, like if it's their rule for this year, so be it, but they need to change this rule. It's an awful rule. It doesn't. It really hurts people in best ball where like you choose how many players to allocate to each position. You know,
right? And now you're lacking a tight end score, and you'll never ever use Taysom Hill's score at quarterback.
Yeah, so, and the only reason this is happening, which like maybe is not important, but just why it's happening is because the Saints are gaming the new third emergency quarterback rule,
right,
to get an extra roster spot by listing Jameis as the emergency.
So, yeah, he's not really a quarterback. They're just gaming the rule.
Taysom's going to play tight end, you know, or running back.
Yeah. Is this a time where we should just go take Tyler Boyd, or do we want to try to wait on him? Well, it's probably too early.
Let's just lock down Boyd, whatever. This is pretty flat.
I think we can get him at 112, though.
Let's get Boyd.
All right.
I like it. You floated out. We're doing it.
All right.
I don't know. It's like a flat tier players anyways. You didn't tell me what percent of this I'm getting. I get 50% if we take it down.
Yeah, I'll give you 50% of any top 10 finish.
All right, deal. Good deal, good deal. But yeah, so the guy
what do we want to do on the wraparound, and then let's get back into that story.
Okay, I think
we don't need tight end.
I don't hate Dak and being done at quarterback, although they both have week 7 buys. Yeah, let's just go Jaylen Warren.
All right, I like Warren.
I like Warren a lot. I think he's just good.
So you're on the podcast with this guy. You're arguing with him. What was the resolution?
Well, he reached out to me and said he wanted to debate me on this, and I was like, all right, sure. You know, like I was gonna do a show about this anyways, kind of just letting people know. And he came on, and he didn't really seem like he was open to listening. I don't know. You can watch it, and he ended it with "You're not very good at this. I'm not very good at this." I don't know. Like I probably didn't let him finish every point, but he was just like changing the subject and not answering any questions. And
That's tough.
And so I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, it's hard because he's corporate and he's defending the company position, so he doesn't really
seem that corporate to me. Like the company seems to be pretty wild, but
well, I was gonna say in the sense of you're defending your company's stance on something that you've already locked in. So you're not really there for an open and honest debate where someone could change their perspective. Like I like engaging in debates where I'm like, this is my current stance, but I'm willing to change my mind if presented new information. I hate going into a debate where it's just like, all right, we both have a predetermined outcome and no one's really listening.
Yeah, I had to like mute him at one point to like finish a point.
Preston's a wild video. Check it out. All right, I think I'm gonna have to watch it now. That's a good endorsement.
That was only like 2 hours ago we did that.
Yeah, I know. I remember you said you had that this morning. That's awesome.
So I don't know. It is what it is, you know, like again, I think
do we want to take Taysom Hill here where he's a tight end just as a big
well, I think if all he had said was this is our rule for this year, you know, we didn't see this third emergency quarterback. You don't even have to say that, whatever. Like, this is our rule. We're following it this year. We're going to revisit it in future years. Okay, like reasonable. And like, that's all really, you know, I could expect. I think he's going to lose the people who draft a lot of Taysom and are pissed about it anyways with that strap. But like, you know, it comes off reasonable. Instead, they like tout this, like, this is how we've done it for 16 years. And it's like, dude, no one gives a fuck. Like they're gonna vote how they're gonna vote to spend their dollars, and you coming off terrible, which like Drafters is a company that comes off awesome. You know, like they had some server issues. That's not awesome, but they've given out a ton of free tickets. They're overlaying. They you know, like their customer support's really strong. Like that's how you should come off as a business. To me.
I totally agree. I think Drafters is a good company. That's why I like working with them. I don't do very many partnerships anymore because I honestly don't really think there's any money to be made in it. I think in the early days of DFS, you could make a lot by referring people to the basic sites like DraftKings and FanDuel, and it was just a gold rush. But now, I mean, everyone's on all these sites anyway, right? Like, I think,
and we're not the biggest voices
down here, but the main reason I even partner with them is just so I can give my customers the existing user bonus, because that's pretty sweet to get a 20% bonus on when you're already a customer that you're going to play anyway. So that's my most commonly used promo code. The new user bonus, you know, I probably make a few $100 or something, but it doesn't really matter. The main point of doing it is just to like support a good company. Like I'll support Underdog, Drafters. You know, there's a company that's doing guaranteed survivor contest called Splash, and they're going to be like 30% full. So that's one where it's like, I don't know all that much about the company, like the people that work there and their, you know, their ethics or whatever, but I do know they have a lot of backing, so I can trust that they're going to pay out a couple $100,000. Oh, is that our pick? All right,
let's take Goff.
Yeah, I like that. But anyway, so I'm like,
Kirk got sniped one pick before, but
what was that?
Kirk got sniped one pick before, but that's what it is. No, I mean, like we as consumers should want a lot of different companies to survive and exist, right? Like
exactly.
It gives us optionality.
I think it's cool that this company is trying to build a whole brand around NFL Survivor leagues. Do I think it'll work? No, I honestly don't. But I love that they're trying it because I think Survivor is super fun.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Like I've never played Survivor, but I would like to.
I wrote a whole article about it. You know, I'll tweet my article out and make it free. I wrote a really good article, I think, about the strategy for how to play a bunch of entries in this contest. And, you know, it's like
what's first place in it?
What was that?
What's first place in the contest?
100K.
Oh, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, here, I'll show it to you.
Give me the too long didn't read on how Survivor works. You just pick a team each week or something?
Yeah, hold on. After our pick, I'll dive into it with you.
Okay.
What do we want to do
I think the question for us is, are we going to go alpha QB and Rodgers and just be like, okay, no, that option's dead. Laporte is an option just to kind of help weekly upside. We already have tight end locked in. I like Lazard. I like
him in the flex, so I don't mind doing a third. We could also double stack Rodgers QBs without Rodgers.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with that. I like Lazard too. I like MVS to have a good year, but you can get him cheaper, I think.
I do like MVS. We won't get him on the loop.
Let's go Lazard. Let's go Lazard.
Yeah, I think Lazard and Wilson is a unique combo without Rodgers.
Yeah, and like Rodgers will have some games where he has 20 points, but his wideouts will also have 20 points. So you don't need Rodgers,
Exactly. Okay, so the too long didn't read on Survivor is you have to pick a different team each week. And then starting in week 12, you have to pick 2 teams. So you can never use the same team twice.
Is it 100K in prizes or it's just one person that wins or?
Yeah, it's a winner take all format.
Okay.
So once you're eliminated, you're out. So the way I'm doing it is, I guess I got to log in. The way I'm doing it is I'm going to do 100 entries. I just haven't taken the time to click new entry over and over again yet. But I'm going to do a bunch of entries where I go like 70% Washington, which is the optimal play. And then I'm going to go like 30% Baltimore because I want to take 2 pads and have 2 different teams like going. That way, if one of them gets eliminated, I can fork the other one and split them and then just keep splitting them as they get eliminated to kind of like narrow my way down. Because there's no reason to have multiple entries that all win because it's just 100K to first. So unless you're chopping it up with a bunch of people, but I don't think it's going to get chopped. I think it's going to come down to one winner because you've got to pick like 23 winners or 24 winners. Like you have to.
And how much are you looking ahead at others at the schedule and being like, when should I pick what team?
Oh yeah. No, I've mapped the whole thing out.
Like, oh, you have? Okay.
Oh yeah. You got to spreadsheet the whole season and say, I have to use 24 out of 32 teams. Which 8 teams am I never going to use? That's why you got to take Washington.
So who's your like week 8 team?
Well, I don't know yet for sure, but you the thing is, it's going to probably change. Right now, you map it out as like we're probably going to target the Cardinals, the Rams.
Are you going to take ownership into discussion once you get further along to be like, most people are choosing this team? I should choose.
Well, that's the thing. So what I wrote about in my article is that you're going to want to, we're eventually going to take a shot on a week where it's really obvious that everyone is going to go the same team. So what I'll do each week is I'll look through the whole contest and see of the teams that make sense to pick, how many people have that team available. Like if Washington is the biggest favorite one week later in the season, they'd be a great play if you didn't use them in week 1. So my Baltimore entries would have an advantage because most people will probably take Washington in week 1 if they know what they're doing. I guess maybe I can't assume that. I don't know how sharp people are going to be on this. But the reason Washington is the play is because you probably never want to use them again other than like they're minus 300 against Arizona and the Ravens are minus 500. But Washington's the better play because you probably never want to use them again. And Baltimore will be a favorite all the time.
I mean, you could play the Cardinals for just like an 0-17 season until they get – so you could go Cardinals, Giants, Cowboys, 49ers, Bengals, Rams, Seahawks.
Yeah, and that's what some people will do, surely. Like that's the strategy because you can't pick the same team twice, but you can pick against the same team as many times as you want. So that's definitely the strategy is to just be like, will the Cardinals be that bad? If the Cardinals get stomped by Washington, then everyone will take their opponent going forward. And at some point, you'll want to fade it and hope that they can pull off a win.
Well, and you can't pick them the divisional opponents, so you'd have to find a new game then. So that's maybe how I would play it. Just like they lose.
That's pretty much the optimal. It's definitely going to be tempting to not just go against Washington every time. All right. What do we want to do here?
Cardinals, you mean?
Yeah, sorry.
What's the running back tab show?
What was that?
Can you click the running back tab?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we take Roshan because that's like a pretty significant end of tier.
Yeah, agreed. All right, on the wraparound.
Nice to get a division opponent with Detroit as well. Helps a little bit. probably, right?
Probably a little.
Get those game stacks.
Yeah, that was a significant end of tier. So now Chig would be the last like really good player. Okay, he's gone.
I like Musgrave, but I think we're gonna go wide receiver here.
If we take another tight end, it should be at the it should just be like because someone great falls to us.
Musgrave's nice because you got pieces of Detroit, pieces of Minnesota.
True, it's a lot of division stack.
Yeah, and that division just like seems like a logical division to have terrible defense and a bunch of shootouts. But let's go wide out here because I think
what we could try to do next round if he's still there at 177, Irv Smith.
Yeah, we just correlate the tight end with quarterback. Can you click wide receiver? Yeah, I like DPJ.
Yeah, I've been taking a ton of DPJ.
He's either like gonna have 1,000 yards and like 6 touchdowns, or Cedric Tillman's gonna play ahead of him.
Yeah,
and it's just there's no like if ands or buts.
It's either a dead roster spot by mid-season or he's gonna smash. I lean towards smashing.
Well, it was even if something they could do is they could play Tillman outside, Donovan Peoples-Jones outside, and Cooper in the slot. And maybe Elijah Moore just hits the bench.
Yeah. Someone's going to get left out, but I like whoever plays. I've got 13% Peoples-Jones and only 2% Elijah Moore. So I hope that lasts.
I've got very little Elijah Moore too.
Yeah, it's that I don't have much Christian Kirk either. I just feel like at the ADP these slot guys are drafted at, it's like
I got a lot of Kirk. I like Kirk.
I just worry that like they love Zay Jones. They always have. And they obviously are going to play Ridley. So I don't know. I think Kirk, he could lose some snaps. To
me, it's a bet on the Jags passing offense, which is like a passing offense I want to bet on.
Right.
I'm predicting the Trevor blowout, 4,500, 5,000 passing yards, 30-something passing touchdowns. Let's say Ridley smashes 1,510. Kirk can still get 1,010, and Zay can get some. I don't know, or it's a equation where Kirk, Ingram, and Zay are like really all close to each other. So it's like, Kirk was not the best because he's too expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think people are disrespecting
Christian Kirk a little too much. But I can see the argument for him. You just have to fade some guys,
Let's see. Kirk, I got 11% Kirk on drafters. But I was drafting Kirk back when he was a 4-5 turn guy. So
hey, so I just put my article to the Week 1 Survivor Breakdown. I just put it in the comments. So it's on my site. You can go to Really Good Picks and it's under NFL. It's free to read. I just made it free. There's a link in that article that lets you sign up for Splash, and you get a free $10 when you sign up. That's the best I could do. They weren't doing any sort of like deposit bonuses or anything. And I was like, give my people $10. Come on. And they were like, all right, we will. So that's all I was able to muster. But you really don't need much because look at this overlay.
Yeah, how much overlay is it right now?
Look at this. I'm sharing it right now. This is the whole offseason of effort, and they're like a few days away, and they're at 2,700. Like,
I might throw a grand in there,
Yeah, I think this probably gets to 4,000, maybe 5,000 tops. And now you're playing at 50% expected value. And granted, it's winner take all, so your EV is whatever. You're probably gonna end up with 0. But yeah. I think it's gonna be a really fun format to be strategizing, and like it gives you such a good, fun reason to fade like huge favorites and then be rooting for like the Cardinals to like upset teams when you fade them. So in the beginning, though, you just want to go optimal. Like, you really don't want to take big risks because lots of people mistakenly think you should take risks right away from the jump. So there's tons of people fading the optimal teams early. But by later in the season, everyone's playing optimal, especially if the optimal path has won.
I think it could be fun also. Like, you throw 100 teams in there and you just pick whoever the hell you want. You pick,
what you don't want to do, if you do like all your entries differently, it becomes impossible to manage or strategize because you're like, you click on one and you're like, oh, that I don't have any of those teams
available. It's not a contest. Like if you let's say there's a guy out there throwing like 1 or 2 in. I wouldn't map out the whole season if I'm that guy. Just pick a team each week, man.
Right? Yeah,
and have a fun sweat. Click running back because we are pretty desperate for some running back points here.
I'm interested in Clyde now that he took the first snap of game 3.
If you want to go with Clyde, go ahead.
I don't like. Do you like Singletary?
I'm with Singletary, yeah, and I like.
Okay. He makes more sense here. He's the better value.
Let's take Singletary. I like Kyron a lot, but my ADP is pretty cheap on him. I think it's like a really great sign for him that the Rams arrested him in all the preseason games.
Yeah, I think they're pretty serious about him being the RB2.
And it could just be like he's at worst a James Whitey type, where I think he's getting those third downs is how I'm reading it. But I don't know, man.
I would say at worst, Akers plays every down, but that's not likely.
Yeah, I mean, because in some ways, Akers could be this year's Josh Jacobs if like everything breaks right. But I'm just thinking like Kyron's going to get some passing touchdowns, some passing game work. I think we again need to hit running back, and you just need to depend on the quality of your wide receivers, which like St. Brown and Wilson in theory are hitting our lineup most weeks. Right. And then we just need one of the other 4.
We're going to need, I think we want to go like probably 8 receivers.
Yeah, maybe like a 2.
Take a couple of late guys because some of these guys like Mac Hollins, Hardy, Atwell, like what's your thought on Atwell? Everyone's drafting Puka. I think Atwell profiles as the better upside play.
I like Atwell more than Puka, but I'm not like a college football film guy like the guys who like Puka is.
But it's just recency bias. Atwell had all the better metrics coming out of college. He was a
second-round draft pick.
What was that?
He was a second-round draft pick.
I know. They invested more into him. He was more of a project when they picked him, and they knew that.
Let's go running back, though, because I like our ability to hit wide out later. And
want to go Kyron?
Yeah, Kyron or Clyde. Like if you like Clyde, I'm okay with Clyde, but
no, this is I'm going off of you here, Liam.
I like Kyron. Yeah, I like Kyron. I don't know. Like if Clyde does it to me, he does it to me. I will say like he had that I've said this on a stream, but like he had that like gallbladder, like mystery gallbladder surgery that was like not reported on, and he like the beat reporters were saying like, oh yeah, he's like very small, like he lost a lot of weight or something, and so maybe he was bad because of that, like that's not something I have a great.
People hear unreported injury and they think stay away. I hear unreported injury on a guy with a 193 ADP, and I think maybe that was a problem for him, and now he's going to come back and be great.
No, for sure. Like that could definitely happen. I think Kyron is going to give us some weeks, though. Like at worst, I see him giving us 3-4 weeks.
I wouldn't even hate going with like another, like just a stable of running backs, like taking Clyde next.
Yeah, I built a lot of teams with like 7-8 running backs on them. I'm down with Clyde. And it's like, I just think you have to draft like you're right and think about it. It's like, okay, Amon-Ra Wilson as a start, like really they should be in your lineup most weeks. And yeah, you're going to need to hit some spikes. So probably like a 2-8-8-2, or if we want that third tight end, we can do it, but I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, I kind of think if we add Clyde, I think we might have enough at running back that we could add a tight end, but let's see like who's there. This is how I end up with so much Hayden Hurst. It's because I end up with 2 tight ends, and it comes back to me at pick 201, and I'm like, Bryce Young throwing to an every down tight end, sign me up.
I don't know, man. Like
here's my thought on Bryce Young. I think he throws to tight ends when it's unscripted, and I think in the preseason he's only playing a couple of scripted drives. So he didn't throw to Hurst much in the preseason because they're scripting in the receivers. But I felt like at Bama, his tight ends, and this could be wrong, like this isn't the deep research thing, this is just my gut feeling, was that he threw to tight ends more on broken plays, second half scramble drills when he kept hitting his guys like Latu. So I felt like from watching Bama games, I like a tight end with Bryce Young if he goes late. And then the Panthers just gave me this like, oh, here's an every down tight end you can take in the last round of your drafts paired with the quarterback you wanted to take a tight end with. It was just the perfect storm where I was like, I have to go all in here. What am I giving up? A 19th round pick?
For me, I don't love his talent, Hayden Hurst. I don't think it's a great sign that in the third preseason game, he was not 100% snap guy. In the first two, he was. In the third one, he was like sharing it with
Tremble.
Whoever, not with Tommy Tremble, with the other one, I think.
Yeah, see, if it was Tremble, I'd be a little more worried. But like,
well, because one possibility is that in a preseason game, they just want to keep their quarterback safe, and they have a terrible line, right? And so, like, they just wanted to keep Bryce Young upright, so like they kept a blocking tight end in, and that won't happen in the regular season because they need to try to win. But I don't know. Like, I mix Hurst in. He's not like a fade for me. I like Hunter Henry to have from like a weekly upside standpoint more.
Yeah, I think Henry could have some multi-touchdown spots.
I like Mayer. Like Mayer could just be wildly mispriced.
Yeah, he could be, but we can't take him on this team. It would just be insane.
No, but like, and I like McBride because if Ertz is not a thing, he could just be littered with targets.
Yeah, he could be.
And Taysom,
I have a ton of McBride. I'm willing to just be totally dead on my McBride, on like all my Arizona equity, but I just feel like it's one of those things where it's like, this team sucks. They're just going to be throwing in garbage time against prevent defenses the whole second half. And you're getting their wide receiver 2, Michael Wilson, at the end of drafts, and probably their tight end 1 at the end of drafts. And Hollywood Brown was amazing with Kyler last year. So
I like Cade Otton too. Agree with everything you said. Like Taysom Hill too. With if Kendrick Miller misses week 1, I think Taysom Hill's just playing running back with Jamal.
Right. I think Taysom Hill is the RB2 in week 1. He has a lot of just weird value where he can hit. He has so many outs.
He's a really good bet from a weekly upside. I thought he was a worse bet this year.
None of these running backs are particularly worth taking now.
Yeah, I mean, Rico is like the last draftable running back. Things have gotten ugly there.
I like Ingram okay. I think they
could give what's wide receiver showing?
Renfro's probably the best bet here because we could use a little bit of floor.
Go Hardy.
Oh, yeah, let's go Hardy.
Fuck Renfro. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, Renfro could do it again where, like, he had that wild year 2 years ago.
Adams is out of the picture now, so I just feel like Garoppolo is the type of QB that I think works fine with Renfro.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, he was pretty bad last year. Like, Jacoby Myers and him overlap. Michael Mayer and him overlap. He could have a great year, or he could just be whatever.
I like Josh. I've been taking a lot more Josh Downs lately after they cut Isaiah McKenzie.
They re-signed him back, but like he was just like a one-day cut to like get a guy.
Is he re-signed back to the practice squad, or is he going to be on the active roster?
I think he's on the team, but I like Downs to play over him. But I think we take our last running back here because,
or we could take Taysom, but these guys
let's take Taysom.
Those guys will be there the next.
Let's take Taysom, sure.
Yeah, I feel like after the whole Taysom discussion.
I mean,
you gotta.
After that discussion, how could we not?
Yeah,
I mean, his whole discussion was like, don't you think it would be unfair? Like he's like on the concept of fairness, is it not unfair for a tight end to get points or for a quarterback to get points at the tight end position? And I'm like, no. Because that's what we're all operating as possible. Like we all know that could happen.
It's not like this is a new thing. It'd be really unfair if they changed the quarterback to tight end eligibility at the very end. But
yes,
it's not like that happened.
Yes, but
yeah, I know. We've all known we could take Taysom Hill as just a wild card late tight
end.
Like
honestly, it's annoying. I wish he was listed as a quarterback so I don't need to think about him. But
yeah, I didn't draft much of him this offseason because
I didn't either because Juwan and then Jimmy Graham. And
there's not any real path to him playing, but the problem is they just always use him like a lunatic in the most random spots. So he's just such a wild. He's probably the most wild card pick in the whole draft. Like you're just taking a guy.
He's a pure wild card.
Yeah, you have no clue what the outs even are necessarily. You're just like, I know they exist.
This is like close your eyes, click the button. I think it was a worse bet this year than previous years just because Jamal Williams is there to vulture touchdowns. Kamara is reportedly looking better. Kendra Miller's there now. And they have Foster Moreau. And they have Jimmy Graham in the tight end room as well. Plus Juwan Johnson, like breakout maybe. And Michael Thomas maybe not being hurt all year. Like there's a lot of different pass for it to go. Plus, they have like such an easy schedule where they could just lead like every game and they're not using these weird Taysom plays. But he's still like, I don't think he's a great bet, but he still has outs.
No, he has the lowest floor of anybody that gets picked, but he also has a massive ceiling. He's just annoying. It's Artie asked, shouldn't Taysom be a QB? What's the damage? Artie, you're gonna have to go back. We're not starting all over. Go back and watch the stream about 20 to 30 minutes in. We had a whole Taysom Hill discussion. And
those were lines that were said in the stream I did with the guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was at about the 30-minute mark, so you can watch that, or you can go to Liam's YouTube channel and watch the full interview where he talks to the fantasy football guy, FFPC guy, about it. All right, we've got 2 picks left. How do we want to wrap up this 200
running back, wide receiver?
Running back, wide receiver, yeah. Oh wow, it's gotten pretty ugly.
Yeah, that's kind of like why I was thinking of going Rico there. I'm okay with.
I think he would go, but you're right, he did go.
I think we take Chris Evans and gamble that he's the passing down guy with Joe Burrow.
This team is probably not strong enough to take Leonard Fournette and just.
If you want to get off the wall, you could take Travion Williams, who might be the 2. Like we don't know who the Bengals RB2 is.
Right. It could be Chase Brown. I like Chris Evans okay.
It could be Chase Brown too.
Breida is probably the safe RB2. And
I think Evans is the upside bet because we have Joe Burrow, so getting that.
That's true.
Getting that.
I think we go Downs first, right?
Sure. But Evans is like the last. Yeah, go down. Go.
Downs just got picked. That makes it easier. All right. So we'll go Evans.
And then wide receiver. We'll finish off there.
Yeah. So if we wanted to finish this off with,
let's go with Atwell.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like we wanted to finish my 150th draft off right. I gotta take Atwell because look, Puka just got picked. This is what keeps happening. Puka always goes and no one takes Atwell. I wouldn't be surprised if Atwell's ownership in this drafters contest is like 1% or less.
No, it's gonna be more than that.
Now they're going. I wonder if this guy just thought of Atwell because
I got one more wide receiver for us. So
good. Who do you got?
We're gonna not be amateurs here and say the name because you're streaming, man. I got 20% Atwell.
Yeah, I got plenty of Atwell. It's okay. I have a lot of A-Rob. Dude, I think the Pittsburgh situation is interesting where we're all drafting. We're drafting Deontay and Pickens in like the top 60 as if they're just locks to smash. And then A-Rob, who's their 3rd wide receiver, just doesn't even get picked.
Let's take Trey Palmer.
Oh, all right. I'm up for that.
He's a guy that's going to be closer to like 3-5%. And, if Mike Evans gets traded, that's good for him. He seems to be a deep threat as is. The thing with Allen Robinson is I expect the speedster there, Calvin Austin III, to like maybe overtake him in the slot or like share it with him. And I don't know, like how many touchdowns are the Steelers throwing for this year? Like people are talking about this Kenny Pickett breakout.
Looked so good in the preseason. I know it's preseason, but he did not have a drive.
He looked very good.
Touchdown
against the Bills starting defense too. But
he scored a touchdown on 100% of his drives in the pre. I think he went 7 for 7 on touchdown drives.
Yeah, but his like prop still for the season is like 20.5 touchdowns.
No, I mean I agree that the market isn't suggesting to that at all. But and I'm not like reaching for Pickens or his weapons, but like last round A-Rob, like here's the only thing on A-Rob. We don't know if he's bad or if he's always been in bad situations. So I feel like this will tell us.
He was bad last year, but he might be good in the slot. Yeah.
This is a new situation for him that we haven't seen him in before. And so I'm just like, I'm not ready to write him off yet. I'll give him one more season to prove that he's not a bust.
I think that's fair. You're braver than me, but I'm not. I've taken a little bit Calvin Austin. I'm mostly just like not taking a lot of the Steelers guys other than Jaylen Warren. And so that's how I played it. How'd the team finish off?
I thought it was pretty good. Should I add it back?
Yeah, I can't wait for this 150K, man. Joe Burrow, Jared Goff. ETN, Montgomery, Warren, Roshan Johnson, Devin Singletary, Kyron Williams, Chris Evans, Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson, Quentin Johnston, Tyler Boyd. You picking it up the rest?
Lazard, DPJ, Hardy, Palmer, Andrews, Hawkinson, Taysom Hill. I think it's unique to say the least.
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, you need Wilson and Amon-Ra in there most weeks. You need ETN to have a couple big games. You need Montgomery to have like quite a bit of touchdowns. And then hopefully like Roshan is the 2, if not the 1B. You're killing most teams at tight end, from a weekly perspective.
It's a very fragile team because if Quentin and Trey take time to get going, then we really need consistently big scores from Amon-Ra and Wilson every week. But that's how you win, right? I mean, I think you got to get the big scores from your first few round picks or your toast anyway. And hopefully Andrews and Hawkinson can fill up the flex spot pretty often.
Yeah, and it's nice that you got unique through a falling Burrow with Boyd. Like most people are lining Burrow not with Chris Evans and Boyd. And so you're, something happens to T or Chase or both, you have these like weird low-owned stack options, especially because like we reached on Boyd to secure it. But really Burrow at pick 64 could just be, it opens up a possibility to winning,
right.
I think.
Yeah, I like it. All right, so now I've got to show a couple of comments. One that I want your take. Is this a positive comment towards me or is this a negative comment towards me? Ready?
Pleasure drafting probably 10 times with you, Justin. Good luck this year, Ricky. No, I think that's a positive comment. He's saying that like he had fun drafting with you. Good luck this year. He's not saying
okay, that was my lean, but I could also see, man, it was great having someone as bad as you in my lobby.
Yeah, no, I hear. I don't think it was that though.
This comment, his second comment is clearly positive towards you.
Thank you, Bang Bang Betting.
All right, well, this was great, Leo. This is a perfect way to wrap up my drafting season. I'll tweet the screenshot of this team underneath the stream on Twitter so that we can always refer back to it. And
so you can't delete the video if this thing ships. I'll be looking for what's the username? Justin McMahon. I'll be looking for that on the leaderboard.
Search 150.
Yeah, and it shows you. That's the great thing on Drafters is it shows you the number.
Yeah, makes it nice and easy.
All right, man. Well, thanks for having me, and good luck this year.
Yeah, you too, man. Hope to see you at the top of the leaderboard.
All right. Good luck, everybody.